Booster engine cut off. Stage separation.
Boost will start up.
SpaceX has revolutionized the space race in ways that even agencies like NASA have yet to do. The company is set to launch its most advanced rocket yet, Starship. Starship will be the rocket of the future if the engineers at SpaceX can get it off the launch pad and into space. But what makes Starship so advanced? And when can we expect to see a manned launch? Stick with us in today's video as we explore the engineering marvel that is Starship. Founder and CEO of SpaceX, Elon Musk has stated in the past that humans need to become a spacefaring civilization to survive and explore the outer reaches of the solar system. But to do this, we need rockets that are more cost-efficient and durable, and that's where Starship comes in. Starship is set to be the world's first reusable rocket capable of ferrying over 100 people at a time to the Moon, Mars, and eventually the further reaches of our solar system. The spacecraft is designed to be fully reusable, meaning, unlike other rockets that are only used once and then discarded, a single Starship can be used multiple times, with little to no changes to the launch vehicle. Starships can be used multiple times in a single day, only needing to be refilled with propellant before it is ready for another launch. The Starship system is made up of two stages, the booster stage called the Super Heavy, and the upper stage called Starship. The combined system measures over 120 meters in height and weighs over 11 million pounds, making it the tallest and heaviest launch vehicle in the world. The Super Heavy booster stage is fitted with 33 powerful Raptor engines, which will be able to lift more than 200,000 pounds of payload into low Earth orbit. These Raptor engines will help Starship break out of Earth's gravity and do so very efficiently. They are powered using a simple methalox fuel, which, again, is an excellent choice by SpaceX, because not only is methane cheaper than conventional rocket fuel, but it also doesn't produce any soot which could accumulate and cause problems. This is a major advantage for a rocket that is intended to be reusable. Also, this choice of propellant is important because it can be synthetically reproduced on Mars. This is possible with the discovery of ice on the polar caps of the red planet. With a chemical process known as the Sabatier process, this Martian ice can be converted to water and methane, producing propellant for Starship right there on the surface of Mars. SpaceX is currently still the only space agency with rockets that can launch and land autonomously, with the company's Falcon 9 rocket completing hundreds of such missions and holding the record for most successful launches in history. The ability of Starship to successfully launch and land safely has been the reason for numerous tests carried out on several prototypes over the years, and it would all be worth it if, for the first time, astronauts no longer need to crash land into the ocean. To this end, SpaceX engineers have devised a way for Starship to land safely by incorporating metal wings into the multi-million-dollar rocket. These wings are called flaps, and during re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, they're extended and create a form of drag which, coupled with thrusters, slows the rocket's descent. This is called the bell flop maneuver, and is frankly an ingenious way of dropping a 200,000-pound piece of metal from space. These flaps are not powered by the inboard fuel, but use a separate pack of Tesla batteries, which can be recharged and effectively reduces the need for more fuel space on board the rocket. Elon Musk has also emphasized that this general approach could be used to bring Starship down safely on any planetary surface in the solar system, starting with the Moon and then Mars. But while testing the rocket's ability to launch and land safely is a top priority, another major factor is the passenger and cargo bay that will hold Starship's passengers and crew. The upper cone of Starship is designed to house the rocket's cargo bay, passenger cabins, viewing gallery, solar storm shelters, and an onboard gym for exercise. According to SpaceX, the cabins will be designed to house up to 100 passengers for each flight, and per Musk's statement, this number could very well be up to 300 if the cabin space were made to accommodate 3 to 4 persons. This, of course, would be considered for later trips when the rocket has completed enough trips. Another interesting aspect about Starship is that the upper stage can be placed into a sort of parking orbit after separation from the booster stage. According to Musk, this is to enable the rocket to be refilled with propellant, which will enable the 6 to 9 month-long trip to Mars and beyond. With Starship having 5 different variants, a tanker variant carrying only propellant will already be in orbit around the Earth, ready to dock and refill other starships, which could be a cargo, crew, lunar, or deep space variant of the spacecraft. While Starship might hold a lot of potential, let's take a look at how it fares against already successful rocket systems. The Saturn V was indeed a powerful rocket, launching the first humans to the moon, but its achievements are challenged by Starship. While Starship is designed to accommodate over 100 passengers and crew, the Saturn V could only ferry 2 or 3 people inside its lunar module. This was because while the Saturn V focused on putting a man on the moon, Starship is being built to be a spacefaring airline for astronauts and tourists alike, to regions much farther than just the moon. Another major difference between both rockets is that the Saturn V was a single-use disposable rocket, while Starship is being built to be completely reusable. Another aspect where Starship shines is that while the Saturn V delivered just under 9 million pounds of thrust with 10 engines, Starship's lower booster stage alone has 33 Raptor engines producing more than 16 million pounds of thrust, nearly twice the amount of the entire Saturn V. Is also another aspect where Starship shines as a single launch cost just under $2 million, whereas the cost per launch on the Saturn V was over $185 million. In essence, Starship outshines the Saturn V in flexibility, power, function, and cost, all the things that make for an efficient rocket system. But the Saturn V is an age-old rocket from the last century. Let's see how Starship compares to a rocket in its class in the 21st century. And there's none more suitable than NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS. NASA's SLS is the agency's flagship rocket from its Artemis program, with most of its principal components derived from the retired Space Shuttle program. SLS has a major upside against Starship in that it has successfully completed a test flight, which it did in November of 2022. The SLS launched its Orion capsule into orbit around the moon before returning to Earth after 25 days, splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. But then, Starship still has some ace in its hood. Starship is still more powerful with over 16 million pounds of thrust. While SLS only produces 9 million, Starship is astronomically cheaper, costing just $2 million per launch, while SLS, on the other hand, costs a whopping $2 billion for a single launch. While SLS is still relatively more successful than Starship, the low launch cost of Starship will make it more efficient and cost-effective, with prospects of generating income based on its reusability, while SLS remains a $2 billion single-use disposable rocket. Starship still appears to come out ahead, with its modest production budget even against a giant like SLS that has cost over $11 billion in development costs alone. Starship's potential puts it against the likes of the Saturn V and NASA's SLS. But how will it compare to the most successful rocket in the world, a rocket also developed by SpaceX, the Falcon 9? SpaceX's Falcon 9 is currently the world record holder for most successful launches, completing all 60 launches it had in 2022 alone. The Falcon 9 family, which now includes the new and improved Falcon Heavy, have completed over 280 successful launches since 2010. Unlike Starship, the new Falcon Heavy uses 9 Merlin 1D engines in its booster stage to generate over 5 million pounds of thrust, which is quite powerful for a rocket its size. Although it's still nowhere near Starship's 16 million pound thrust capability, which is nearly 3 times that of the Falcon Heavy. But while Starship comes out on top against these other rockets and takes the title as the most powerful rocket in the world, it still has a long way to go. Since SpaceX began the launch test on Starship in 2019, the rocket has had its fair share of ups and downs, and by downs, we mean massive explosions. Over the years, various prototypes and variants of Starship have undergone massive testing at its Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas. From the small 39-meter-tall Starshipper, which managed to fly about 150 meters above the ground, to the current prototype, the latest test flight of Starship saw the rocket blast off its launch pad in Boca Chica, with its 33 Raptor engines boosting the spacecraft into the sky. The test flight was originally intended to last for 90 minutes, with Starship reaching space and then coming back down for a soft landing. However, upon reaching an altitude of 43 miles, the booster stage exploded mid-air after separating from the upper stage. The upper Starship stage also blew up a few minutes later. In a press release by SpaceX, the company stated that success comes from what we learn, reiterating the fact that crucial data from the explosion will help in making the rocket better equipped for its next launch test. Despite Starship's delay in achieving a successful flight test, it remains humanity's best hope in sending manned missions to Mars and beyond. NASA also remains optimistic about the success of SpaceX, as the agency is the company's biggest client, with active contracts on using variants of Starship for its Artemis mission. The program aims to establish a human outpost on the Moon by 2030, and all eyes are on Starship to make that dream a reality. So, do you think Starship will ever complete a successful launch, or is the ambitious rocket fated to remain grounded? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.